Being a monster has no future, being a big brother means leaving one's wife and children behind. To go ashore, one must go ashore. Jiang Shan, who was initially reborn as the Bull Demon King, thought so. The history of dozens of failed attempts to stand in line in his ancestors, as well as the reality that the Jade Emperor returned from the tribulation but was ignored by Doumu Yuanjun, made him want to cry without tears. Fortunately, there are still thousands of years left before the start of the journey to the west, and the passing father left behind the opportunity to worship Bodhi Patriarch. Worshipping Bodhi and practicing the formula of immortality. When waiting for the sky, one can obtain the heavenly immortal scripture. However, the final result seems to deviate from what Jiang Shan had imagined. The Jade Emperor actually came to find him voluntarily. In the end, a bunch of titles were inexplicably thrown onto him, including the Heavenly Court Consort, the Heavenly Court Chief Assistant, the Jade Emperor's greatest hero in power, and the Hope of the Three Realms. P.S. The background of Journey to the West is set with mountains and seas, without the 6 saints of Hongjian. This book is also known as The Road to Promotion of Heavenly Court Officials, the Consort of the Three Realms, and Bodhi Patriarch. Regret for accepting that cowherd as an apprentice. Keywords of the novel. I, the Bull Demon King, the Heavenly Court's first power minister without a pop-up window. I, the Bull Demon King, the Heavenly Court's first power minister. Download the complete text. I, the Bull Demon King, the Heavenly Court's first power minister. Latest chapters for reading. Chapter 1. Rebirth of the Bull Demon King. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Rebirth of the Bull Demon King. My father died. Am I the Bull Demon King in the future? My wife was bitten by a monkey, my concubine was killed by a pig, my son was taken by a bald donkey, and I was also taken by a bald donkey. In the depths of Tsuiyin Mountain in Xinyo-Hezhou, inside a cave, a robust young man who was 9 feet tall and had a pair of large white ox horns on his head sat by the bed, his eyes lifeless, muttering to himself, as if he were dementia. Young master. The old master has been away for half a year, you should be sober now. A mournful voice sounded on the side. The murmuring young man lifted his head and looked at the old man next to him with a pair of dark ox horns, saying, Uncle Chuan. Is it me? Young master, you have finally come to your senses. The old man was full of joy. Since the old master was summoned by the heavenly court and died on the battlefield outside the sky, the Nyo clan's power has been threatened and eroded from all directions. Now its power has greatly decreased, and more importantly, the young master cannot bear this blow and has been unconscious. Crying bitterly for a month, then unconscious for 6 months. When I wake up again, I look like I'm talking like a god. The herd of cows has no head, not to mention the outside, but the inside is also chaotic. Well, I'm awake. Jiang Shan nodded, reluctantly accepting reality. He is an ordinary traveler, doing nothing, but one day when he wakes up, he is no longer human. Only by absorbing all the memories in my mind in a daze can I determine what kind of world I came from. Journey to the West. And I am one of the few renowned Bull Demon Kings in the original work who do not rely on magic weapons or Sun Wukong's 5 or 5 abilities. But he was not very happy because there was no Demon King backstage on his journey to the West, and the fate of the old ox was not good. His wife was bullied, his son was taken away, his concubine was killed, and he was also taken away by the Buddhist sect. You should know that those Buddhists treat monsters like them who can ride directly as mounts. Without dignity, there is no rest throughout the year. Excessive manjushri directly physically castrated the green-haired lion. Thinking of this, Jiang Shan felt a chill in his crotch. Blessed by the heavens, the young master has finally regained consciousness. Now that most of the foundation that the old master has worked hard to establish has been taken away by others, how to deal with it depends on the young master's instructions. The old man burst into tears in surprise. Being taken away. The old man's words made Jiang Shan suddenly realize that the current priority is not what the future holds, but the present. My predecessor, father, was the previous generation of the Bull Demon King. He had unparalleled divine power and was known for his power in pulling mountains and rivers. He was a well-known demon king in the West Nyoha continent, and could be considered one of the top demons. At the beginning, there was a Tsueyin mountain, and in the end, the territory was as large as dozens of countries. But for some unknown reason, he agreed to be summoned by the heavenly court as a rebel army to resist the invasion of the 9 heavenly demons. As Jiang Shan, who is well aware of the importance of the backstage of the journey to the west, he greatly admires his father's desire to wash away his legacy. However, this approach is truly foolish and even inexplicable. You should know that such a rebel army doesn't even consider recruiting in, and their father's reputation is not even as good as Bai Mawen. At least Bai Mawen holds a legitimate official position and has entered the heavenly court divine register. Like being killed in battle on the battlefield now, the heavenly court shows no signs of it, and the body was brought back by the powerful bull tribe themselves. Because of this, their family's situation in Shinyo-Huzhou was quite difficult. Everyone is free to be the demon king, you thick eyebrows and big eyes actually want to recruit peace. And he is also 108,000 miles away from the future Pingtian saint, who is proficient in 70.2 transformations, has boundless power, and looks like the head of the demons in Shinyo-Huzhou. However, at the age of 100, according to their clan, they are not yet of age. Not even worthy of being called the Bull Demon King. If he dares to raise this banner now, he may be killed by the true Demon King level powerhouses around him in a few days. Yes, the old man explained the current situation of their family together. Upon hearing this, Jiang Shan's expression became even more solemn as he said, except for Tsueyin Mountain, all the other territories were given to the Demon Kings and uncles who had befriended his father in the past, such as the Dragon King of Baibotan, the long-lived Fox King, and the nearby mountain gods and river gods. All of them were given as gifts and left in their hands, which was already a disaster. Pifu is innocent and harbors a guilty conscience. Dad has died, and his power has suffered heavy losses. With such a large market share, it's not worth considering. It's better to give it all away and become a scattered wealth boy than to compete with his family. Do you want to give them all away? These are all the legacy that the old master has worked hard to pass on to you, young master. Uncle Zhuang was excited when he heard this. Although he knew it was also a method, it was all ancestral heritage. This brat sells his land, whether it's the human race or the demon world, they are all black sheep and will be pointed at and cursed on their spine. If we save land and lose people, everyone will be lost. If we save people and lose land, everyone will be lost. As long as I am still alive, I can always retrieve it again. And it must be fast, otherwise it will be slow to deliver, and it's hard to say they will come and grab it. Jiang Shanli said, if we change it to the original person, we may be conflicted, but for him, there is no psychological burden. Let's live first. Anyway, they can't be held back. It's better to be sensible and send them out quickly when others come to grab them. After all, they have not yet taken action. Firstly, their predecessor, father, although a little confused in the end, was eager for justice, had broad friendships, generously donated money, and had friends all over the world. Basically, they had some friendships, and now they can't wipe their faces off. Secondly, there are a lot of greedy people who are afraid of each other. Thirdly, Tsueyin Mountain still has strength. The powerful Nyo tribe, with boundless strength, is not a joke. But now it's a matter of paper tigers, we can't hide it for long. If we don't deliver now, we won't have a chance to deliver. Looking at Jiang Shan, who was confident and calm, Uncle Zhuang vaguely seemed to have seen the deceased old master. However, he couldn't help but feel sad. The old master unfortunately passed away, leaving only the young master. He had not yet grown up, and his old friends should have protected the young master until he reached adulthood. Unexpectedly, he was so useless and couldn't help but protect the young master. Tell Uncle Zhuang to take a deep breath, then turn around and head to a secret room in the center of Tsueyi Mountain. Once only his father could enter, but before leaving, his predecessor's father seemed to have anticipated this scene today and said if he couldn't come back, he would come here. It's just that my predecessor was too sad and didn't wake up as soon as I fell asleep. I didn't come here either. Go inside, open the mechanism, come to the secret room, squeeze out blood, drip into the stone door, and intricate patterns appear on the stone door. Before long, the stone door opens. Jiang Shan walked in and looked at the surrounding stone walls filled with various paintings, complex and cumbersome, primitive and barbaric. It was unknown how many years ago it was, but it seemed to contain some kind of wonderful power. In deep thought, the stone wall painting suddenly surged, and a light appeared. A faint figure appeared, 9 feet tall, with a majestic demeanor, like a small mountain. Although it was just a shadow, it had a domineering aura that engulfed the mountains and rivers. Looking down at Jiang Shan from a high position, he said with great dignity, "My son, you have finally arrived. I believe I have already fallen. Yes, with internal and external troubles, Uncle Zhuang is struggling to sustain himself. What should I do?" Jiang Shan nodded and looked at his predecessor's figure with hope, giving him a clear path. "It's really not possible. Give me some high-level cultivation techniques, which are powerful and invincible, but you think it's too dangerous. Even if you don't have any cultivation techniques yourself, you can do it. I think my son's life is not easy now. This is Xinyo Hezhou, a barbarian land, where wolves, tigers, and leopards gather. It's a pity." However, the figure spoke on its own without responding to Jiang Shan's words. Jiang Shan suddenly realized that it was not a residual soul, but a photo. No matter what Jiang Shan says, he will continue speaking on his own. "I won't say anything now, let's see what my former father arranged and why he went to the heavenly court to fight. Before I left, I had anticipated that it would be difficult for me to return, so I deliberately left this message for you. My son, you must remember that we are not these wild mountain demons, but rather the ancient heavenly gods' descendants. We have the lineage of the ancient righteous gods, but we helped the Qiyu clan defeat in the past, and since then we have fallen and become demons, wandering in the demon world, causing our ancestors to be ashamed. As soon as I leave, you will be the only one left in our clan. Revitalizing our clan's glory, 1,000 heavy burdens will be on you." Upon hearing this, Jiang Shan opened his mouth wide. In his past life, he enjoyed reading mythological novels, so he knew what the reason was. According to the classic of mountains and seas, there are 3 dangerous mountains with beasts on them. They look like cows, have white bodies with 4 horns, and are as bold as wearing a raincoat. Their name is Een. It can be considered a well-known ferocious beast. From the appearance alone, it appears to be a big white ox with 4 horns, which is very similar to the original body of the bull demon king. However, the bull demon king has 2 horns, indicating impure bloodline. I didn't expect it to have this origin. I can also understand why my former father insisted on going to the battlefield, revitalizing the family, and returning to the heavenly realm. For many people, this sense of mission is more important than anything else. Are you just asking me to revitalize this situation? End of this chapter. Chapter 2. 3 choices. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. 3 choices. However, if my son finds this road difficult and gives up, it's up to him. Now that we belong to the Een clan, we are the only one left. Please remember to get married as soon as possible, reproduce offspring, and leave a future for the Een clan. This is fundamental. My predecessor's father, Su Ying, changed his words once again. Jiang Shan was amazed at what he said. Together, are you fearless when you bravely go to the heavenly realm because you have already created a trumpet? Before leaving for my father, I thought carefully and left 3 paths for my son. If my son can choose one to take, he can also live a peaceful life. As the words fell, in the secret room, 3 wooden boxes flew towards Jiang Shan with a mysterious force. Upon hearing these words, Jiang Shan just showed a happy expression. That's what he wanted. With his current strength, not to mention revival, immortality is not bad. In the wooden box on the left, there is a Kuei Nyo Ling. The Kuei Nyo clan was originally of the same origin as our own clan, and they were close relatives. However, there were differences in their support for the Shenyuan and Qiyu clans back then. Their ancestors chose to support the Shenyuan clan, while our ancestors chose the Qiyu clan. In the end, they became the king and defeated the enemy. Wu Gui became a fierce beast due to their lineage and joined forces with demons. The Kuei Nyo clan became a divine beast in the heavenly realm, equivalent to dragons and phoenixes, and were born into gods. Now, they are the divine beasts under the throne of the great Emperor of Antarctica, in charge of the Thunder Department. Jiang Shan couldn't help but show a strong look of envy upon hearing these words. Lay Department, the highest external combat power department of the Heavenly Court. A truly powerful department. Moreover, it is equivalent to dragons and phoenixes. Although in Journey to the West, the status of the Dragon clan may seem low, the Dragon King of Jinghe was simply executed because the amount of rain was not well controlled. You should know that wherever there is water, there are dragons, even as small as a well, and one can imagine the extent of the Dragon clan's power network. Moreover, the Dragon clan, born with immortality, belongs to the Divine clan. And unlike the rule that ordinary immortals do not allow love, they can have children at will. This is really sour. It also proves the importance of standing in line. If you take this order and go to the heavenly realm to join the Kuei Nyo tribe, it is a sign of surrender. The Kuei Nyo tribe should be willing to accept you and seek a divine position for the protection of the heavenly court. Jiang Shan nodded slightly and continued to listen. My predecessor's father wanted to wash his hands and go ashore, but he didn't even seek refuge with the Kuei Nyo tribe. Obviously, this path is not so smooth. In the middle wooden box, there is a Xuanli Ling. It is a token of engagement between my father and the ruler of Dali Kingdom in Nanjing province. His family is a descendant of the Jiuli tribe, married to the Raksha tribe, and established a tribe in Nanjing province with extraordinary cultivation. Our ancestors have an old tradition, and I have formed an alliance with him. You can come to our door to seek marriage and enjoy his protection. Jiang Shan continued to listen, thinking to himself that if he were to marry the Rakshasa tribe, wouldn't that be the Rakshasa woman, the future Iron Fan princess, my wife? On the right side of the last wooden box, there is a Bodhi token that was accidentally obtained by my father. You can go to Fangcun mountain in Lingtai to learn art. It is said that there is a high-level figure named Zushi Zabodhi, but my father is not very familiar with his cultivation. However, from this token, it seems extraordinary. You can go to learn art from a master. If you can learn all the skills, you can truly establish yourself. There are 3 paths to retreat from here. After careful consideration, I wish my son a prosperous immortal path and a lifetime of peace. As the words fell, the figure dissipated. Jiang Shan remained silent and immediately knelt before the disappearance of the phantom. Although it is emotionally difficult to truly consider this person who has only seen one side as a father, this deep fatherly love is ultimately something he has endured. After bowing, Jiang Shan stood up and looked at these 3 wooden boxes thoughtfully. 3 wooden boxes, 3 roads. The first one is to seek refuge with distant relatives who lived thousands of years ago. It is estimated that the struggle among wealthy families will inevitably become a sacrifice of power. And this is still when the other party is willing to accept themselves. As Monk Sha said, if you don't come to your door for 3 years, it's a matter of marriage, not of marriage. Going here, the future is perilous. Secondly, seek refuge with your father-in-law's family. When we first got married, our own father was there. Now that our father has left, this marriage alliance is another matter. If you go, either, 30 years east of the river, 30 years west of the river, or it will be a sun.in.law flowing away. It's not easy to walk either. Thirdly, apprenticeship. My own father doesn't know about Bodhi, can he still not know when he travels through the masses? Bodhi Patriarch, Sun Wukong Master, and the most mysterious master of journey to the west. It took 7 years to hone Sun Wukong's character, and then in just 3 years, he taught a great sage who lived the same life as heaven and earth and caused chaos in the heavenly palace. The skill is here. If you can join, naturally it's best. It's just too mysterious, afraid of becoming a chess piece. After some contemplation, Jiang Shan decided to take everything. First, let's move on to the third point. Learn from your teacher and acquire all your skills. Then take the second step, strengthen your strength, and come knocking on your door to propose marriage. Finally, take the first path and strive to connect with the Kuei Neo lineage. When you are weak, the whole world is full of bad people. And when you are strong, the whole world is good. As long as he can cultivate a skill, there will naturally be people who can use him. And with the help of the line of the Kuei ox, he may be washed white and come ashore, blending into the heavenly court. Being a monster has no future, being a big brother means leaving one's wife and children behind. Only by landing can there be a future. Take a look at how many monsters without backstage were killed on your journey to the west. And getting into the heavenly court is also considered stable. As for the possible series of things behind Bodhi. For Jiang Shan now, it's all a small matter. Being used as a powerful chess piece is certainly terrifying, but even more terrifying is not having the qualification to become a chess piece. Moreover, from memory, during the battle of Shang and Zhou, there were no primordial deities descending to the mortal world, let alone the leader of the Tongtian sect. Therefore, it can be confirmed that this world has nothing to do with deity worship. Bodhi Patriarch is not a quasi-Ti minor, with slightly improved safety. I don't know where the old father found this Bodhi Ling. It is said to be going to Lingtai Fangcun Mountain, but where is Lingtai Fangcun Mountain? I don't know if the insurance is safe. What if Bodhi Patriarch doesn't accept me? Jiang Shan's face showed a pensive expression, and the Bodhi token in his hand suddenly flickered and shone. In the midst of Jiang Shan's blurriness, he entered a chaos where he saw a heavenly Bodhi tree, with glass and golden leaves filled with boundless wisdom. Upon seeing it, Jiang Shan's restless emotions since his rebirth suddenly became calm. He sat under the Bodhi tree, closed his eyes, and felt a vague feeling. After an unknown amount of time, his heart was peaceful. He opened his eyes again and returned to the Chamber of Secrets. The Bodhi token in his hand remained the same, but he had a rough feeling in his heart. I feel like as long as I go in one direction, I can find it. Knowing that it is a divine manifestation of Bodhisattva, the heart immediately rejoiced. But at this moment, on the west Nyohezhou, there is an unknown distance from Suiyin Mountain, which is between the 3 realms and seems to be in a fairy mountain outside the 3 realms. On a cattail, a crane-haired and childlike old Taoist sits upright with a fairy-like demeanor. Suddenly, his eyebrows furrowed, and he had a sudden impulse. Anyone who has achieved success in cultivation will have a sense of enlightenment in the underworld, which is called Dao Xing. Those who specialize in one of the Taoist arts are better able to understand the heavens and seek good fortune and avoid misfortune. The old Taoist's cultivation was profound, and he sensed his own destiny. He pinched his fingers and calculated, then looked around, traversing through numerous mountains and rivers. When he saw Jiang Mountain in Suiyin Mountain, his originally gentle face immediately wrinkled. How did this bodhisattva decree fall on the descendants of Yin? To whom is not good, not to the descendants. In ancient times, a fierce beast that had been among the top was arrogant and domineering, never restless. Whenever there was a great change in heaven and earth, it would definitely participate. However, Piancheng was still a disaster star and plague god. Supporting Qiyu and the downfall of Jiuli, supporting Gonggang, Donggang's anger could not collide with Zhou Shan, supporting Boyi, and then the son of Dayu, Shechi, abolished the abdication system. Why is this only cow coming to apprentice now? Bodhi Patriarch, who had been feeling a headache for countless years, began to experience some headaches. You, don't come over. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Long live Fox King. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Long live Fox King. After leaving the Chamber of Secrets, Jiang Shan's complexion improved. Although his future was uncertain, he had already made progress. He admired a famous teacher, practiced Taoism, and should have achieved success. Young master, long live Fox King, is here. Please meet him. At this moment, footsteps sounded, and Uncle Zhuang hurriedly came over. Long live Fox King. Jiang Shan frowned. Long live Fox King, a demon-level demon. Although old, there is no hope of breakthrough and the combat power has declined. But a skinny camel is bigger than a horse, far beyond what Suiyin Mountain can withstand today. Hurrying to the front hall, I saw an elderly man dressed in luxurious attire, dressed in mink fur, with a waist adorned with precious jade, and a kind face sitting in his seat. He didn't look like a powerful demon king, but rather like a wealthy man. My nephew pays his respects to my uncle. I have great filial piety and there are no adults in my family. If there is any loss, please forgive me. Jiang Shan immediately saluted. Where? When your father was alive, we were sworn friends and had the same affection. Now that he has passed away, you are like a nephew in my heart. Why should I see you outside? Long live Fox King smiled warmly, like a generous elder. What uncle said was that my father often mentioned taking care of him before he passed away. Before leaving, he specifically instructed him to give all the mines in Xishan to uncle as a gesture of gratitude for taking care of him over the years. Jiang Shan spoke passionately on his face, but his heart was not moved by the kindness shown by the long-live Fox King. Long live Fox King, no one knows if there is a long live. But among the thousands of miles around Suiyin Mountain, the long-lived Fox King lived the longest, had the widest influence, and had the most wealth. In the past, several demon kings asked him to mediate any contradiction. A typical respected demon king, but once he eats someone, he will never vomit his bones. And even after eating your meat, it's still for your good on the surface. After hearing this, the long-lived Fox King nodded secretly. He was such an ox, but he was willing to give up his wealth decisively. His future was limitless, but he said on his face, "What kind of embarrassment is this? This is my father's last wish, and I hope my uncle can accept it." "Don't let your nephew be that unfilial cow," Jiang Shan pleaded again. With these 3 words and 3 concessions, the long-lived Fox King finally agreed and said, "It's okay. Although I don't have any intention of these mines, I can't let you become this unfilial cow with your filial piety. I will keep it for you first. If you need it in the future, come and ask me for it, and I will definitely return it." Jiang Shan looked at the smiling face of the long-lived Fox King and cursed the old fox in his heart, but said on his face, "Since it has been sent out, how can we retract the truth? Anyway, let's not talk about that. Your father has gone, I wonder what your plans are for next." Wansui Fox King asked. "Returning to my uncle, my father's last words, and I have several legitimate uncles and relatives who asked me to join them. Only by learning some skills can I come back to guard my family business." Jiang Shan said to himself, revealing that he was not alone and had no support. "Oh. I don't know where those uncles are. I've been with your father for many years, but I've rarely heard of him. Those who haven't met in these years are either relatives or not." Long live Fox King said. "Although that's the case, it breaks the bones and connects the tendons. And this time it's a message from them. Please go, my nephew. I can't help but go. And only by cultivating all my skills can I come back and guard this family business," Jiang Shan said. "But you are still young, and it's true that if you don't come to my door for 3 years, it's a matter of being close or not. Besides, you haven't seen each other for hundreds of years, so I think they want to take care of your family's wealth. The long-lived Fox King shook his head and said, "Why don't you join my sect? Although my uncle is not talented, he also has a third rank that can be cultivated by you. And I only have a daughter under my knee, named Yumian, who is not specialized in cultivation. You can work with her to promote her cultivation, so that you two can guard the foundation of Jile Mountain and Suayin Mountain together." Princess Yumian. Upon hearing this, Jiang Shan couldn't help but be taken aback. Why is the name Long Live Fox King so familiar to me? Originally, it was the cheap father-in-law of the Bull Demon King in the original work. Despite having a wealth of personal possessions, one ultimately did not reach the realm of the same longevity as heaven and earth, and died peacefully. Leaving behind an orphan daughter, Princess Yumian was helpless and helpless. In the end, Princess Yumian had to actively support her family and hire the Bull Demon King as her husband. It also allowed the Bull Demon King to live a happy life without shame or impatience. However, at this point, Jiang Shan also has to admire his predecessor. Although it was a burden, when fighting against Sun Wukong, he said, "As the saying goes, a friend's wife cannot be deceived, a friend's concubine cannot be destroyed. How rude are you to bully my wife and also destroy my concubine? Come up and eat me. The original Iron Fan is my wife, and the Jade Face is my concubine." The problem is, in fact, the Bull Demon King eats, drinks, and uses the Jade Noodle Princess, and he is a son-in-law. Truly, the first person to eat a soft meal is the hard one. Not to mention that Chao Dahua is willing to bow down when he sees it. Even if he is willing to stand still and see it, he should also ask how he did it. "My dear nephew is tempted, why don't you just follow me back to the mountain?" The long-lived Fox King thought Jiang Shan was moved and immediately said, "Uncle's kindness, my nephew is deeply grateful, but my last wish must not be violated. I will go there no matter what. After we meet, we will discuss the future. However, my nephew's departure this time may take several decades or even 100 years. I still need Uncle's care of Suayin Mountain, and I am willing to offer my personal belongings." Jiang Shan said. Although being a son-in-law is a path, it is obviously not a good one and is not safe. If you really want to be a son-in-law, it's better to find the original Iron Fan Princess. At least the banana fan is powerful and can protect oneself, allowing oneself to eat a bowl of soft rice. And this old fox just talks about his daughter, but actually doesn't express anything. If he doesn't have the ability, he probably passed by, and his Suayin Mountain surname is Wan. Seeing that Jiang Shan's attitude had been determined, the long-lived Fox King didn't say much either. He just declined a few more times, accepted some family property, and then vowed to bless Suayin Mountain and Yunyun, before leaving. "Young lord, do the old lords still have relatives?" Uncle Zhuang asked in confusion, how come he doesn't know about these things? Take it seriously. If I leave Suayin Mountain soon, I will go to seek refuge with my uncle and learn some skills. However, these days Suayin Mountain will rely on Uncle Zhuang. Jiang Shan said, without elaborating, to prevent Uncle Zhuang from being lax and leaking the information. "Don't worry, young master. As long as the old slave is in one day, Suayin Mountain will be in one day. Young master, even if you want to learn," Uncle Zhuang said solemnly. "No, in my heart, Uncle Zhuang is more important than these family businesses. As long as we are here, family businesses can always be earned back, but without people, what's the use of family businesses?" Jiang Shan said sternly, "Also, please invite Uncle Zhuang to bring the Wanqing Dragon King and them together. All these family businesses will be given. Don't worry, just leave it to the old servant. It's just that Xinyo Hezhou is dangerous. The young master is alone outside and needs to protect himself. If something cannot be done, the old servant still has some strength," said Uncle Zhuang with a firm expression. Jiang Shan smiled and comforted for a moment. After Uncle Zhuang left, he sat in the same spot with a serious expression on his face. He had to think for a while, but now he didn't have time. Even though there are still rituals and laws in the human world, it is still difficult to resist the malice of the hearts of living beings. Moreover, there is no such ritual and law, and it is inhabited by birds and animals. Learn all the skills as soon as possible, otherwise these seemingly gentle uncles will be afraid to pounce on them and eat themselves to the point of leaving no bones. Lingtai square inch, slanting moon with 3 stars. Can we reach the direction of our hearts? End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Lingtai Fangcun Mountain. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4 Lingtai Fangcun Mountain. The cold wind is like a knife, using the earth as a cutting board and seeing all beings as fish and flesh. Between heaven and earth, a snow-white and solemn silence lingers for thousands of miles. A burly man walked slowly in the midst of a blizzard and strong wind. It is undoubtedly Jiang Shan. Those demon king uncles, although greedy for money, also showed some loyalty. After accepting the treasure, they all promised to bless Cuan Mountain. At least they won't take the initiative. Or, to put it another way, after being divided up by them, the remaining family business in Cuan Mountain is not enough to make them not want to lose their reputation. And if they don't take action, the other forces won't be able to harm Cuan Mountain. Tidy up neatly, bid farewell to the group of Cuan, move freely, and search for the location of the spiritual platform. Unconsciously, it has been 10 years. However, Lingtai Fangcun Mountain is still nowhere to be seen. The cold wind howled, causing Jiang Shan to tremble in the cold. The snow of Xinyo was also extraordinary, freezing people's bodies and souls. Even if he is the cause, he still can't bear it. Over the past decade, we have been experiencing wind, frost, rain, and snow all the way. I also witnessed the chaos in Xinyo. People and demons coexist, and gods and demons coexist. Buddhism, big and small, fights against each other. Although they are both Buddhas, their momentum becomes water and fire, accusing each other of being cults. He is alone and often, even though he doesn't want to get involved, he is inexplicably stirred up. There are also monks who are greedy and use the pretext of practicing justice for the heavens, either plotting his demon pill, or wanting to take him as a mount, so they will attack him. Even more demons ravage him, wanting to harm his life, seize his property, and devour his bloodline. If it weren't for his natural supernatural abilities, even though he hasn't become an immortal, his divine power is unparalleled. He can defeat the mountains and even surpass ordinary immortal families. Perhaps he has already become someone else's mount. Of course, there are thrills and many adventures. I have encountered a wealthy mansion several times, with a mother and 3 daughters, each with a beautiful and charming appearance. There are no men in the house, and I want to invite him to come and bless me. Encountering disciples recruited by the cultivation sect, I saw that he had extraordinary supernatural powers and intended to accept him and teach him his supernatural powers. Encountering the young lady of the demon tribe, Embroidery Ball invites marriage, inheriting millions of personal belongings, and recruiting son.in.law. To be honest, Jiang Shan has wavered before. The fact that the Bodhi mandate has been repeatedly handed over to his father indicates that mastering the Bodhi mandate may not necessarily lead to apprenticeship. The road ahead is dangerous, and if we move forward, we may die, and then this Bodhi decree will be handed over. Even if you don't die, I don't know when it will arrive. He sometimes even doubts whether his premonition is wrong. Because this journey of searching is not a game, it does not have a progress bar and cannot show how far you are from Sangsingdong today or tomorrow. And hard work may not necessarily lead to finding it. Just like in previous lives, many people chose to lie flat. Because you have put in great effort, you may not receive any return. But after much consideration, Jiang Shan refused one by one. In this chaotic world, if one does not cultivate a great divine power, how can one establish oneself in the world? Pifu is innocent and harbors a guilty conscience. If there is no strength, beauty, and wealth, they are just flowers in the mirror and moon in the water. You must learn all your skills. And the Lord of heaven and earth is his own teacher. Teachers are like parents. Once they worship, unless the first one dies, when they worship the second one again, the second famous teacher may not necessarily be accepted. The best of these inheritances, which is the sect of the disciples of Wutsu Star who are passed down again, cannot compare to Bodhi Patriarch. Their disciple Sun Wukong, however, managed to defeat all 7 elements, including the Wutsu Xingjuan, and fled without warning, forcing the 5 senior-level Tathagatas to suppress them. So when encountering unexpected situations, they all refuse, either sternly refuse, politely refuse, or agree in person and secretly flee behind the scenes. Whether it's natural disasters or man-made disasters. After all, he couldn't stop his path. If you can't cultivate a supernatural ability, it's okay to die on the road. Facing the flying snow, Jiang Shan looked resolute and tightened his tight-fitting robe, continuing on. In the mountains, Bodhi Patriarch couldn't help but shake his head. Natural disasters cannot be intimidated, human disasters strengthen their hearts. Beauty is hard to conceal, wealth is unstoppable. This little cow has recognized himself and arranged so many natural disasters and adventures for him, yet he refuses to stop. Is the heart of seeking the Tao steadfast like this? Bodhi Patriarch sighed slightly and suddenly waved his sleeve. Thousands of miles away, a cold wind howled and heavy snow flew. Time flies by in a hurry, and Jiang Shan has left Suiyin Mountain for an unknown amount of time. Suddenly, I saw a beautiful mountain with deep forest foothills. Jiang Shan is not afraid of wolf worms or tigers and leopards, only they are afraid of his share. Climb to the top of the mountain to watch. Fruit is a good mountain, 1,000 peaks row the halberds, and 10,000 feet open the screen. The sun reflects the blue light and locks the green, while the rain collects the dark color with a cold hint of blue. The withered vines entangle the old trees, and the ancient fairy boundary is a secluded journey. Qihua Ruizao, Shouju Qiao Song. For thousands of years, the evergreen will bully the blessed land, and the 4 seasons will not thank Sai Pingying. The chirping of birds is approaching, and the sound of the source is clear. Surrounded by numerous valleys and orchids, moss grows on every cliff. Jiang Shan's heart was filled with joy. Although there was no evidence, when he saw the scenery of the mountain, a voice told him that it was Lingtai Fangcun Mountain. Legs rejuvenate with boundless divine power. Jumping up and down, one can reach 100 zhang, flipping and flipping, but also agile. The more one moves up, the clearer their premonition becomes, the clearer their mind feels, their body lightens a lot, and they feel like they have reached a place. As expected, all the way up, I saw a divine cave hidden between the immortal mountains, with colorful glow emerging, which was mysterious. I saw the cave door tightly closed again, quiet and without a trace. Jiang Shan turned his head and looked around. He saw a stone tablet standing on the cliff, about 3 zhang high and 8 feet wide. There was a row of 10 big characters on it, which read, Lingtai Fangcun Mountain, 3 stars cave under the leaning moon. Jiang Shan was overjoyed at the moment, almost going through a few somersaults with joy and shouting loudly. 10 years of wind, frost, rain, and snow have finally arrived here today. But thinking that this is a sacred mountain and treasure land, an immortal family cave, and the great power of Bodhi Patriarch, I am afraid that he may have already noticed me when I arrived at the foot of the mountain. At present, I dare not be careless and suppress that ecstasy. I have taken 90.9 steps, but the last step has not been completed yet, which may also be a failure. Instead, he became more serious and straightened his clothes, then walked to the door and gently knocked on it. He is not Sun Wukong, and it is uncertain whether his ancestor will send someone to invite him. It's better to knock on the door proactively. After knocking on the door, not long after, a strange-looking child walked out. It's not surprising that many people are polite, but Jiang Shan immediately bowed to Tong Air with thoughtful etiquette. The boy smiled and said, "My master has just stayed up and preached on the altar." Before he could explain the reason, he taught me to come out and open the door. He said, "There's a cultivator coming outside, can you go and receive him?" "That's you." Jiang Shan was excited in his heart and quickly responded. As the boy entered the 3-star cave under the slanting moon, the cave looked small from the outside, but there was a unique cave inside. Layers upon layers of deep pavilions and qianglu. As soon as he entered the Pearl Palace and Beike, he couldn't describe his secluded residence in that quiet room. It is unknown whether it is the legendary power of the sun and moon in the pot, as if he had arrived at a small world. Until below the Yaotai. I saw the Bodhi Patriarch sitting upright on the stage, with 30 little immortal attendants standing on either side. Indeed, it is. The great Jew Golden Immortal has no impure posture, and the Western Miaoxiang Zhu Bodhi, the 3 elements of immortality and immortality, the whole Qi and the whole God, are all merciful. The emptiness and stillness naturally change, and the true nature remains as it is, longevity and solemnity with the heavens, Master Mingxin, who has gone through countless tribulations. Jiang Shan immediately knelt down and bowed, saying, "My disciple pays respects to my master." On stage, the corners of Bodhi's mouth twitched slightly. This cow has such thick skin. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Beginner's Guide Part 2. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Beginner's Guide Part 2. Where are you from? Just give me the name of the township official. I understand. Goodbye. Although he knew it well and had carefully observed Jiang Shan for 14 years since he left Suiyin Mountain, Bodhi Patriarch still pretended not to know. Returning to my master, my disciple is from Suiyin Mountain. I accidentally received my father's relic, the Bodhi token, and only then did I know that there is such an expert like my master in this world. Therefore, I took the liberty to come and pay my respects to my master. I hope my master will not abandon the recklessness and disdain of his disciples and will accept them as beginners. Jiang Shan said, respectfully taking out the Bodhi token. Oh. This token is actually in your hand. Bodhi Patriarch showed a surprised expression, and with a sweep of dust, Jiang Shan's token automatically flew into Bodhi Patriarch's hand, saying, "This thing is not fake. In the past, I promised that the one who received this Bodhi decree would be my disciple and should be included in our gate wall. For 14 years and 5,040 days of your journey, with a steadfast Tao heart and no confusion, how can I not accept you? My disciple pays respects to my master." Jiang Shan quickly rejoiced, unaware that this was a successful apprenticeship, and immediately bowed again. Bodhi Patriarch nodded and said, "You come from Suiyin Mountain, and what is your surname?" Returning to my master, my disciple was named Shan, originally without a surname, but later entered the human world. In order to communicate with others, I took my own surname as Jiang, and was called Jiang Shan by my disciple. But now that I have entered my master's sect, the past is all a thing of the past. I also ask my master to give me a Taoist name. Jiang Shan replied. The surname Jiang is excellent, and you should have been surnamed Jiang as well. Bodhi Patriarch nodded slightly, and you traced back to the Shinnong lineage because of one lineage. Although you were a vassal, you were also given the surname Jiang. Jiang Shan was surprised. In his past life, he was called Jiang Shan, and in this life, the Bull Demon King had a single mountain without a surname, so he was too lazy to change his name and called him Jiang Shan. But what is the reason for this surname being Jiang? In our sect, there are 12 characters. Broad, great, wise, true, like, nature, si, ing, wu, round, and ju. When it comes to you, it is the correct word for si. Let us give you a Dharma name called Haishan. Bodhi Patriarch said again. Thank you for giving me a name, Master. Jiang Shan was overjoyed. In ancient times, giving me a name was unusual. Generally speaking, only by giving me a Taoist title can I pass on your true lineage and treat you as a disciple. But broad, great, wise, true, like, nature, sea, brilliance, enlightenment, roundness, and consciousness. We have only reached the sea now, and the next one is Ing. That enlightenment has not yet appeared. It seems that there is still a relatively long time to go before the journey to the west. In this case, one should still have a relatively long developmental time. Bodhi Patriarch nodded and said, "Good. Let's get up first and find a seat to sit down. Master, I have come to pay my respects to my disciple. I heard that there is a saying of restraining cultivation in the world, so I have prepared some restraining cultivation." "Please accept it with a smile," Jiang Shan said, taking out the rui bag from his waist. "There are many powerful treasures, making it inconvenient to carry them with you, so they are all treasures that come with clothing. The most typical one is Lao Jun, the gourd filled with golden pills is the treasure of space, accommodating a small world. Jiang Shan naturally does not have such treasures, but this rui bag is also not uncommon. The bag naturally has the wonderful magic of rui in size, which can shrink the items inside. Although it is only a bag, it can hold things from several rooms. Belonging to a rare treasure, it can be considered as the heritage of his lineage." "Oh, you have a heart." Bodhi Patriarch nodded slightly, his face as usual. First, he remained calm and composed, and second, he had confidence. No matter what Jiang Shan brought out, it wouldn't be better than what he had now. Third, he already knew what it was. He silently peeked at the screen and watched Jiang Shan for 14 years. He watched the whole process of what this bundle of repairs was and how it was prepared. This time, the beginner of Jiang Shan has never been without this intention. After Jiang Shan delivers them one by one, let him sit aside and start preaching. Jiang Shan didn't feel disappointed when he saw that Grandmaster Bodhi didn't have much joy on his face. After all, it was mainly a gesture of goodwill. Moreover, if our ancestor doesn't accept it, he won't accept it, but we can't refuse to give it away. At present, he sat quietly on a cattail, listening to Bodhi Patriarch preaching at the altar. This time we are talking about Taoist inner alchemy, but it is an ordinary cultivation technique that involves breathing in true qi. Although it is difficult to prove the Tao and not die, it can also extend one's lifespan, which can be considered as immortality. It can't be considered too secretive. Upon hearing this, Jiang Shan was also pleased. First of all, Sun Wukong had only been a beginner for 7 years, fighting miscellaneous skills for 7 years before learning true skills, let alone him. Secondly, this technique may seem ordinary, but speaking it out from the mouth of Bodhi Patriarch is thought-provoking and has different mysteries. Jiang Shan has been on a snowy road for 10 years. Today, I am under the tutelage of my ancestor and have a clear mind. I have achieved twice the result with half the effort in my cultivation. Close your eyes and listen to the mysterious technique, like spring rain moistening things and nourishing the whole body, it is indescribable pleasure. A black aura emerges from the forehead and gradually dissipates, while strands of white aura surge around your body, floating like immortals. The current method of cultivation originated from the 8 trigrams of ancient Wang Fushi, which inspired the spiritual wisdom of all beings and carried forward to the Taoist ancestor of the Supreme Court. It was practiced using the golden elixir method, and since then, all races in heaven and earth have undergone transformation in practice. Otherwise, it would be better to cultivate oneself for thousands of years than to cultivate for decades as a mortal. After transformation, the cultivation methods vary. The vast majority of demons absorb the essence of the sun and the moon and have intelligence. Then they constantly feel the world with their own bodies and explore some cultivation tips, commonly known as wild solitary Zen. Long-lived Fox King practices like this, so Jiang Shan never learned from him. Jiang Shan was originally a unique lineage of human factors, but to this day, he cannot be considered a complete human factor. He only has 2 horns, and his inheritance is also broken. Although he is better than ordinary demons, he cannot be considered a major figure. If classified by past martial arts, these cultivation methods are external skills such as iron cloth shirt and iron sand palm, which are then used to cultivate true qi through external martial arts. And Bodhi Patriarch's Dharma technique, passed down from the Taoist sect, has a root that is upright and red, and is an internal skill of the 8 classics of the true child. Jiang Shan couldn't help but feel relaxed upon hearing the true secrets and magical techniques, as if he had a clear mind. In the 3-star cave under the slanting moon, spiritual energy kept surging, while Jiang Shan seemed like a glutton, refusing to refuse visitors and absorbing spiritual energy from all directions, almost forming a storm. Startled, the disciples around looked surprised. This is the first step in Taoist cultivation, which is to induce spiritual refinement. Using the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, cleanse oneself of impurities and impurities, wash tendons and cut marrow. At the beginning, one can draw talismans to catch ghosts, prolong life, cultivate to great success, and be as light as a swallow. The 9th level realm of Taoism is considered immortal to ordinary people. But at the beginning of cultivation, most of them were just a strand, a path. Where is it like Jiang Mountain, surging like the vast ocean, and raging like the 9-day-strong wind? Is this the reason why he was given a name under the teacher's supervision and I couldn't wait for it? Everyone was puzzled, but seeing Jiang Shan's expression, they couldn't help but show some respect. I'm afraid it's this junior apprentice who graduated earlier than them. Bodhi Patriarch also secretly expressed surprise, thinking that this ox has such a great talent. I originally thought it was a protective material to help him awaken his bloodline and become a heavenly marshal and protector Vitra, but I never thought it would be so suitable for cultivation due to its exceptional intelligence. However, being able to practice this Taoist method indicates that one is not aggressive. On this journey, it seems that this ox has thick skin and many hearts, but it is indeed not like them. As a clan, they love to cause trouble and take risks. Over the years, although there have been occasional acts of chivalry and righteousness, they also deeply understand the way to protect themselves, like me. It is said to seek a great path and a positive outcome. However, is it easy for this road to bear fruit? Especially in today's world. Shinyo Hajo, the founder of Taoism, transformed into Buddha, and Shakyamuni preached the Tathagata. The new Buddha flourished, squeezing the old Buddha. Above the 9 heavens, the Jade Emperor, who had been seriously injured and reincarnated in the past, finally survived the so-called calamity and returned. However, the 2 brothers, the Purple Micro-Emperor and the Gauchan Emperor, one of the 3 realms Yajun and one of the Emperor's great emperors, with the Doumu Yuanjun behind them, have been in control of the 3 realms for a long time. How could they obediently give up their power? A mess of bad things. Be sure not to disturb my spiritual platform. New book period, 2 updates every day, updated at 7 a.m. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Entering the Ancestor's room at night. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The source has no content or has errors. Chapter 7. Excellent standing history, seeking follow-up. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Excellent standing history, seeking follow-up, difficulty. 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 The way is the most profound, do not treat the golden pill as an idle thing. No one will pass on the secret, but empty words will trap the tongue. But it was said that Jiang Shan was serving on the side. After a long time, Bodhi Patriarch woke up, his feet stretched out, and he unconsciously chanted. Master, my disciple is here, Jiang Shan immediately replied. Upon hearing the voice of Jiang Shan, Bodhi Patriarch immediately lifted his cloak and sat cross-legged, shouting, "This barbarian! Why did you come behind me instead of sleeping in front of me? I respect my master's orders. Yesterday, my master promised everyone in front of the altar that when teaching my disciples the 3rd watch, he would pass on my teachings through the back door. The disciples dare not come," Jiang Shan said. Bodhi Patriarch secretly thought to himself, although this barbarian ox has a decent mind, he doesn't seem to have such insight and can understand it. Isn't it true that heaven is determined? But seeing Jiang Shan in front, he didn't think much and said, you have a big heart and need to learn everywhere. But if you want to learn this skill and shine on your bloodline. Master also knows the origin of disciples. Jiang Shan exclaimed in surprise. Nature knows that due to a single lineage, one is a great ancient family with a deep foundation. At its peak, one should still have 3 parts of reverence as a teacher, said Bodhi Patriarch. To this day, there is only one disciple left. How can one have a rich background? As for the prosperity of a family, if the disciples are strong, the family will prosper, if the disciples are weak, the family will decline. Jiang Shan said with a bitter smile. As the name suggests, one person is the entire family. If there is no heritage, which family can be like your own lineage, continuously opposing several emperors and still survive, said Bodhi Patriarch. I have been enemies of several emperors in a row, isn't it just the Yellow Emperor? And since then, we have been defeated, so we can't be considered enemies, can we? Jiang Shan said with some lack of confidence. It's a bit scary to see these successive emperors. Only the Yellow Emperor. Bodhi Patriarch chuckled, you underestimated your ancestors too much. Since the founding of Pangu, heaven and earth have been ignorant. First, the great deity Nuwa created humans, then the 3 emperors ruled the world, and the 5 emperors established ethics. At that time, the human emperor was the heavenly emperor. After the reign of King Fuxi, he was succeeded by Emperor Yan's Shennong clan. The Shennong clan was beheaded for 9 generations. There were internal conflicts, and those who were loyal to Emperor Yan at the time were also loyal to the emerging forces of the Qiyu clan. At that time, your Kuei-Nyo clan was not yet separated, so they didn't know which one to choose, so they placed bets on each other. In the end, Qiyu won a great victory, and your clan became the ancestors of cattle due to their lineage. But this is the only time you've placed the right bet, and only half of it was right. Due to the alliance between the Shennong and Xianyuan clans in the later period, they defeated the Qiyu clans together. From then on, your clan of Shennong became fierce beasts, resulting in a significant loss of power. Jiang Shan nodded, it turned out that was the case, so his surname should be Jiang. Shennong, surname Jiang. But at that time, the sky and earth were vast, and although the human race was strong, it was not the sole ruler. Therefore, it did not exterminate the entire lineage of the Kuei-In, but rather subdued it. Its status was not as good as that of Kuei-Nyo. Later, with the passage of time, the Yellow Emperor and the Immortal passed away, and the human emperor was replaced by his grandson Xuanxu. At that time, another force emerged in the human race, but after Emperor Yan, he was unwilling to lose the human throne. The Gonggong clan wanted to compete with Xuanxu for the human throne. Your clan was still restless at this time and rose up again, firmly standing on the side of Gonggong, while Kuei-Nyo helped Xuanxu. Jiang Shan's eyes suddenly widened, didn't they, help work together? I don't bring such a dying actinide. In the end, Gonggong's anger did not touch Zhou Shan, the heavenly pillar broke, and your veins were hit again. At this point, it declined for hundreds of thousands of years until the Great Yu controlled the floods. You were born to assist the Great Yu and gain some status. Then the Great Yu Immortal went and according to the abdication system, he should give Boyi. However, the son of the Great Yu, Qi, refused to accept it and decided to raise an army. At this time, it seemed that your clan finally knew not to cause trouble and planned to naturally help Boyi. Upon hearing this, Jiang Shan could no longer control his expression. Sleeping trough, I only know that my ancestors failed to stand in line, but how could I expect to be so excellent? Is it worth mentioning the outcome of the dispute between Boyi and Chi-Chi? When it's time to stick to tradition, choose reform. When it comes to reform, choose to adhere to tradition. Indeed, opportunities rain down like raindrops, but our ancestors all managed to dodge them one by one with their own intelligence and intelligence. Then, without any surprise, you suffered another major defeat and were completely defeated. This is the most famous 3 times your clan stood in line, with dozens of times standing in line, big and small, and even the dispute over the Heavenly Emperor back then. After Emperor Jun's death, you did not stand right in the battle for the Heavenly Emperor, and ultimately fell to the point where you were the only one in the lineage of the Ninely lineage. This is still because you have some Ninely bloodline on your body, which is not the complete lineage of the Heavenly Emperor. Finally, the expression of Bodhi Patriarch became complicated. Standing in line is not a rare occurrence. But like Kazumi, I have never stood right before. It is truly rare for someone to have developed from a big family in heaven and earth to this current situation. It can even be said that it is unparalleled. At this moment, Jiang Shan didn't know what to say. It took him a while to digest the information and aimed at a specific point, saying, Jolie bloodline. Not bad, at that time your ancestors helped Chi-Yu and intermarried with each other. Moreover, Chi-Yu also had 2 horns on his head and a cow as his totem. Your 2 races had similar bloodlines and frequent interactions. Before forming an alliance, marriage was not uncommon, said Bodhi Patriarch. The aesthetic tastes of the 2 ethnic groups are completely identical. And it was relatively primitive back then. Aesthetics are not the same as today, and there are also many who are different from their original form. So, am I half human and half demon? Jiang Shan's eyes widened, so I only had 2 horns, not the 4 horns of the main meridian. No, whether it's Jiuli or the cause of death, they are neither humans nor demons, but demons. Bodhi Patriarch shook his head and said more seriously, in that battle, if you won, you would be gods, but if you lose now, you would be demons. But now, with the transformation of heaven and earth, Taoism is revered, and the cultivation of heaven and earth is also dominated by the postnatal method of Taoist gold pills. The innate power of the ancient divine lineage is gradually declining. Although they have status, they are no longer masters, so demons and demons are not distinguished. So, I'm not a human or a demon. But even if I'm from the same lineage, it's okay. Jiuli is also a human race, why is it also a demon? Jiang Shan asked in confusion. Before being exiled by Emperor Shan, the 4 notorious ferocious beasts of Qi, Tao Tai, Tao Wu, and Chaos were all humans. However, now who thinks they are not demons? Will they be humans? Chuckled Bodhi Patriarch. Jiang Shan was taken aback for a moment, only then did he vaguely recall that the 4 major ferocious beasts were once human beings, even descendants of the human emperor. They rebelled against Emperor Shan and were exiled by him. Furthermore, in ancient times, it was not the present. People in ancient times were born with divine powers, controlling water and fire, and could transform into divine beasts. Even if they had no cultivation at all, they naturally grew up and had a lifespan of 1,000 years. Just like you, divided by the realm of Taoism, now it is only the first time you have entered the 9th level, and you are only a few years away from the realm of a 1st level immortal. However, when it comes to combat power, the 5th level spirit immortal may not necessarily be your opponent. This is not acquired cultivation, but rather innate talent. Compared to the human race today, it is not a race, and after the defeat of the Jiuli War, you hate descendants of Yan and Huang, and occasionally kill, which is indeed no different from demons. Bodhi Patriarch Dao. Jiang Shan, if lost in thought, forgot that people are also different, especially from this era and ancient times. In ancient times, the human race was no different from the gods. One by one, they often move mountains and fill the sea, chasing stars day by day, and even breaking through the mountains. For today's people, it can almost be considered as 2 species. Victory becomes a deity, defeat becomes a demon, but they all belong to extraordinary beings. If you want to reach the power of ancient people, you must diligently cultivate and polish them. Only when you become an immortal can you reach the starting point of the ancient human race. Of course, these are extremely ancient things, and nowadays few people care about them. However, remember that the world is in turmoil, so don't choose casually, otherwise the dangers will be endless. Bodhi said earnestly. Yes. Disciples must be cautious, and without full confidence, they will never participate. Jiang Shan solemnly said, this is natural. Investing in such a dangerous situation, he must have gone as far as he can. After all, since ancient times, how many people can choose the right one for a prince to stand in line? Be more stable, that's the way. However, on the other hand, shouldn't the Jade Emperor be in power now? The Jade Emperor has no sons, they are all daughters, and there is no possibility of power struggle. Is there anyone who wants to be the Empress? If you have this heart, it's good to remember that such disputes are absolutely unacceptable. Of course, if one day in the future you inevitably choose to stand in line, remember to tell the teacher to prepare early. Bodhi Patriarch said meaningfully. Tell Master. Jiang Shan suddenly lifted his head and looked at Bodhi Patriarch. He only met with Bodhi Patriarch for a day, so it is obviously impossible for him to support whichever side he chooses. Putting aside this possibility, there is only one possibility left, let's choose which one to stand in line with and then stand on the opposite side. Grandmaster, what if your glorious and great image in the hearts of your disciples suddenly collapses? Bodhi Patriarch's face remained calm, as the forces of heaven and earth played a game and it was difficult to make a choice. No one could be certain that they could make the right choice. But countless experiences have shown that as long as you stand in the opposite direction to the main pulse, then you are standing right. First, eliminate an incorrect selection. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Grandmaster's Preaching. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Grandmaster's Preaching. As a teacher, there is the path of immortality, and there are also 360 gateways. You are a barbarian who is eager to learn, and I will not stop you. But in the end, the path of immortality is the main one. Come forward and pass on your true teachings as a teacher. Remember not to spread them outside, said Bodhi Patriarch. Thank you, Master. Jiang Shan was overjoyed and immediately approached, only hearing the wonderful teachings of Bodhi Patriarch ringing in his ear. The true secret of revealing density and roundness, cherishing the cultivation of life, has no other way to say. Everyone is always full of essence and spirit, firmly holding on to and avoiding leakage. Jiang Shan was overjoyed. As a result, Sun Wukong's cultivation was fundamental and aimed directly at immortality. But the more he listened, the more subtle it became. After listening, Jiang Shan said, Master, this avenue seems to be pure yang skill, with sufficient essence and energy. If you release the Yuan Yang, it will consume your cultivation. Not bad, this is the ultimate yang skill. Before you achieve it, don't break your body. Bodhi Patriarch said, many misfortunes in the world are caused by lust. There are many peach blossoms in this ox's destiny. If you can control it well, you can also avoid many troubles. Women are useless. What is Dashang? Jiang Shan asked again. Heaven and earth share the same lifespan, and merit participates in creation and transformation. Taoism is a first-class immortal, said Bodhi Patriarch. Jiang Shan is amazed. He has been here for quite some time, and although he has not obtained any exquisite cultivation techniques before, he is also aware of the distinction between cultivation levels. According to the Tao, there are 5 levels of immortals in heaven, earth, gods, humans, and ghosts, with the highest being the heavenly immortals and the lowest being the ghost immortals. According to the realm, it is divided into 9 levels. From top to bottom, first-class immortal, second-grade secondary immortal, third-grade supreme immortal, fourth-grade flying immortal, fifth-grade spirit immortal, sixth-grade immortal, seventh-grade spirit immortal, eighth-grade flying immortal, and ninth-grade immortal. Among them, the 9th to 6th grades are the 4th grade of the mortal realm, called cultivation of immortals, and the 5th to 1st grades are the 5th grade of the immortal realm, called cultivation. A top-notch immortal can be said to be the endpoint of the immortal path, with an immeasurable power. It will change day and day, change stars and stars, startle heaven and earth, and transform mountains and rivers with anger. Such immortals and saints, even if they enter the heavenly court, have a high status, travel around the world, and are not bound by the imperial court. See Sanqing, call it bold, when encountering the 4 emperors, I will proclaim myself as, Your Majesty. Encountering the 5 elders of the 5 directions is even more worthy of brotherhood. However, Jiang Shan quickly realized something. Bodhi Patriarch's requirements for his disciples were all first-class immortals, and how high was Bodhi Patriarch's cultivation level? He boldly asked, Master, you created this skill, so are you exceeding the first-class level? So far, there is only one person who clearly surpasses the 1st grade, the founder of the Supreme Tao. Because these 9 realms were established by him, he himself is the maker of the rules. If I had surpassed 1 level, would I still be here? Being a teacher is only 1 level, it's just the difference between 1 level and the other, it's like the distance between heaven and earth, and it's not something you can understand now. But this is too far away for you, so focus on practicing now. Bodhi Patriarch shook his head and said, I understand that I will focus on my cultivation and seek a positive result from now on, said Jiang Shan. Diligently cultivate the great road, do not provoke the mortal world, said Bodhi Patriarch calmly. Yes, Jiang Shan obediently bowed and stayed overnight in the room of Bodhi Patriarch. The next day, the Daotong who led him into the mountain gate arranged a residence for him. He began his days of cultivation at Lingtai Fangcun Mountain. The disciples of Fangcun Mountain did not embarrass him either, because the next day their ancestors' attitude towards him became friendly again, and their attitude towards Jiang Mountain also became friendly. Jiang Shan is not haughty either. He doesn't know how long he will stay in Fangcun Mountain, and he has no vested interests with these classmates. There is no need to have any grudges. On the contrary, they made friends wholeheartedly, and these disciples all greeted each other with smiles, and their days went smoothly. In the morning and at night, practice secretly, absorb the essence of the sun and the moon, absorb the energy of heaven and earth, and hone oneself. And in the daytime, I worked with my senior brothers on the miscellaneous tasks of Fangcun Mountain. Fangcun Mountain has no servants, except for its ancestors, they are all disciples. The disciples in the cave take turns doing miscellaneous tasks such as sweeping the floor and hoeing the garden, cultivating flowers and trees, searching for firewood and lighting fires, carrying water and transporting pulp. Days are peaceful. After all, compared to the ups and downs outside, these tasks are not worth mentioning to Jiang Shan. Moreover, he was born with divine power, so even carrying 2 loads of water a day or 2 small mountains would not be considered difficult for him. In addition, Jiang Shan also exchanged insights with his fellow disciples. Since these senior brothers are here, they have not completed their studies, are unable to graduate, and their cultivation cannot be considered high. They have not even learned the true path of eternal life passed down by their ancestors, and have only learned one of the 360 nearby gates. Having knowledge of preaching, practicing calligraphy and burning incense, one can climb and fight in the mortal world after descending the mountain, seeking wealth and prosperity. After 100 years, bury the yellow soil again. But it also has some advantages. Jiang Shan communicated one by one, verified himself, but gained something. Especially these senior brothers from all over the world, even if they don't know anything, can talk to Jiang Shan about their own customs and traditions, which broadens his horizons. However, amidst all the customs and traditions, Jiang Shan vaguely realized something different from what he remembered. Firstly, everyone does not respect the Jade Emperor. Or rather, there is no idea in my mind that the Jade Emperor is the lord of the 3 realms, and I tend to lean more towards the 4 emperors, especially the Purple Micro Emperor and the Gauchan Emperor. Secondly, everyone's concept of the heavenly court is not particularly firm. Speaking of many demons in their hometown, they flag themselves as demons and proclaim themselves as kings. It's not a pleasure, but rather a compliment in their words. There is a hint of the end of the imperial dynasty, where the heroes compete and rise up. Listening to these, Jiang Shan somewhat understood what Bodhi Patriarch meant. Surprisingly, the heavenly court was not dominated by the Jade Emperor's family, but rather suppressed and constantly engaged in open and secret struggles. Therefore, Jiang Shan couldn't help but have a bold idea in his heart. Standing in line is like gambling. Before the cup is opened, the outcome is unknown, and 9 out of 10 bets are lost. But now, he knows the result. In later generations, there will be those who do not know Doumu or Ziwei, but are there those who do not know the Jade Emperor? And at this moment, joining in would bring endless glory. After all, there is no greater achievement than being a dragon. If we can get online at this time, who dares to touch him when it's time for journey to the west? However, not long after this bold idea emerged, it was erased by Jiang Shan. Firstly, if there is no way, rashly going up will inevitably result in no good outcome. Secondly, my cultivation level is too low, and I will not be valued in the past. Still focus on cultivation. It is impossible to cultivate him for 108,000 years and climb the mountain again until he is invincible, but there is still hope to climb the mountain again after reaching the first grade. Devote oneself to cultivation, without questioning right or wrong outside the window. In this way, without enthusiasm, the 5 poisons heart goes away, and cultivation becomes smoother. Unconsciously, it was 10 years, and the ordinary energy had dissipated, while the immortal energy gradually emerged. Late at night, the golden crow falls in the west, the jade rabbit rises in the east, and the faint moonlight scatters on the earth. Jiang Shan sat cross-legged on a lotus peak in Fangcun mountain, absorbing the power of moonlight. Thousands of moonlight draped over his body, making his whole body silver white, with a hint of being exiled to the mortal world. But at a critical moment, Taoism cultivates immortals in 9 realms, and the 4th grade is mortal. It requires understanding the Dharma nature, obtaining the root, and focusing on the divine body. And when the Dharma nature is fully understood, the root is complete, and the divine body is forged, it is the most crucial thing to gather the primordial spirit, use the primordial spirit to illuminate one's own essence, and challenge the 5th level spiritual fairyland. It can be said that there is a separation between immortals and mortals, and only after that can one be considered a true immortal. After 10 years of cultivation and no distractions, I have finally achieved small success. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Pangu Yuanshen. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9 Pangu Yuanshen 5 hearts facing upwards, calm and focused, embracing the Yuan and guarding one. Jiang Shan sat on the lotus peak, his mind sinking, and he looked inward at his own body. The essence of his spiritual essence was the foundation of his cultivation. Even if his physical body perished, he could still be reborn. The strength of his spiritual essence greatly determined his future cultivation. Although the Yuanshen Dharma is weaker, it does not mean that it will become weaker in the future. There are examples of being weak at the beginning and later becoming stronger. But at the beginning, the elemental and spiritual aspects were strong. As long as they did not die, there were almost no examples of weakness later on. There are many factors that determine the true nature of the primordial spirit, first of all, one's personal nature. A compassionate and kind nature cannot condense the Dharma of the Buddha, and conversely, a ruthless and ruthless nature cannot condense the Dharma of the Buddha. Secondly, there is the cultivation method, which has the same mental nature, but can affect the strength of the elemental spirit. For example, the mental nature is ruthless, some can only gather ordinary swordsmen, while others can gather Shura. Finally, there is the bloodline. Generally speaking, the essence of birds and beasts is their own nature. Jiang Shan is also somewhat curious about his true nature. In terms of personality, he is not outstanding and does not know what it is. In terms of cultivation, Bodhi Patriarch has a long way of life, which is moderate and peaceful. His achievements can be regarded as immortals or Buddhas, and there is no special directionality. Finally, in terms of bloodline, he is a descendant of karmic factors, but not pure. I don't know if it will condense into a purine Yuanshen, or if it will be the great white bull Yuanshen, or if it will explode into a 9-li Yuanshen. At the moment when the power of the moonlight blossom was at its peak, Jiang Shan absorbed countless moonlight blossoms, and the scattered magic power in all 4 limbs suddenly began to flow like flowing river water. For an unknown amount of time, Jiang Shan felt the invisible shackles burst, breaking through forcefully, and his mind plunged into darkness. Jiang Shan watched from the perspective of a third party, looking forward to the birth of his own spiritual essence. I just watched for a long time, but didn't see my own primordial spirit born. Jiang Shan was immediately startled. The 4th level of the mortal realm has the ability to understand the Dharma nature and obtain the root. Goodbye to the true self, gather the essence, and charge towards the 5th level. If the Dharma nature is insufficient and the root is not deep, there will be failure. However, even the founder said that there is no problem with the root of his Dharma nature. Can he still be stuck in the level of becoming an immortal? Can the primordial spirit still have difficulty giving birth? Jiang Shan was filled with astonishment and couldn't do anything more. He had to continue to practice his martial arts and pursue the same goal, avoiding giving up halfway. However, no matter how one operates the martial arts, the darkness around them never recedes and remains difficult to unravel. Jiang Shan's heart gradually became restless. Could it be because he had traveled through time and his soul was different from this world, so he couldn't gather his essence? If so, how to cultivate? Finally, impatiently, from a third perspective, he angrily punched into the boundless darkness. After finishing one punch, my anger subsided slightly, and I wanted to stop practicing. I will go ask Bodhi Patriarch to see if there is any way in the future. But as he was about to withdraw, he suddenly heard a few loud noises, turned around, and saw the boundless darkness where he had just punched collapse, breaking open and revealing a few strands of light. Jiang Shan was taken aback for a moment, then overjoyed and punched again. With one punch, the mountains and seas were overturned, and boundless divine power erupted. He hated the heavens and the earth, and the darkness around him suddenly collapsed violently. A large expanse of light emerged. Jiang Shan felt even happier in his heart, although he didn't know what was going on with his elemental spirit. But what can be solved with strength now is not a problem. Jiang Shan's 2 fists are fierce and seem to create a new world. I don't know how long I've been fighting, but suddenly I feel like my fist is too slow. I want to use a weapon, so I suddenly have an axe in my hand. Jiang Shan hesitated for a moment, feeling strange in his heart. The axe, when it comes to weapons, should also be their ancestral mixed iron stick. However, his cultivation spirit was also unprecedentedly strange, and he had no time to think much. Holding the divine axe in hand, he began to swing and chop. In reality, his physical body was enveloped by the power of the moonlight, and all his 84,000 orifices were opened up and down, like gluttony, crazily absorbing the spiritual power of the heavens. The spiritual energy of the entire Lingtai Fangcun mountain almost added to him alone, and the moonlight power on the sky was so rich and brilliant that it turned into a pillar of light, enveloping Jiang Mountain comprehensively. In no time, endless thunder roared above the sky, filling it with darkness and chaos. The heavenly palace was in turmoil, and below the earth, there were underworld and 18 layers of hell. Countless evil spirits were terrified from the depths of their hearts. Under the laws of vastness, even if the ghosts were whipped away, they could not help but feel fearful and burst into tears. In the meditation room, the Bodhi Patriarch, who was meditating, suddenly opened his eyes and waved the dust in his hand. His majestic power was activated, and he sealed off the heavens and forbidden areas. The entire 3-star cave under the slanting moon was upside down in time and space. Looking at Jiang Shan again, his expression was horrified. Shocking the heavens and earth, weeping for ghosts and gods. Since ancient times, whenever there is such a vision, it is either a great sage or a great demon. Normally, if one can go through hardships, overcome the 3 disasters and 9 difficulties, and attain the highest level of immortality, then the world will have this vision. If a practitioner has achieved this vision before reaching the first level, without exception, they will stir up the world's atmosphere, lead a moment of luck, and have no difference in popularity. The earlier this anomaly is achieved, the greater the future achievements and ripples it will cause. If one does not die, they will become immortals and ancestors. At present, it is known that the lowest cultivation level when triggering an anomaly is the 4th grade. But what realm is he? But cultivating a 5th grade spirit immortal, how could there be such a vision? Is it difficult to achieve success because a clan has truly turned out to be prosperous, with countless years of luck converging on him alone? Bodhi Patriarch's gaze converged as he saw Jiang Shan's breath becoming more concentrated, filled with the ancient and barbaric aura. Primitive and domineering, sublime and sacred, all things couldn't help but fall to the ground. Bodhi Patriarch was busy brushing the dust again, and a strange force flowed. All the people in the 3-star cave under the slanting moon fainted and forgot what had happened tonight. After getting off the bed, auspicious clouds rose under his feet and flew to the side of Mount Jiang. He transformed into a huge golden Bodhi tree, with swaying leaves and boundless glow converging on Mount Jiang. Only then did the breath of Mount Jiang calm down. On the Bodhi tree, the old face of the ancestor condensed, and he looked at Jiang Shan with a complex expression. I don't know if it's my fate or fate to accept you, this cow. In the past, the founder of the Tai Shang Dao went west to Pangu Pass, transformed Hu into Buddha, and guided Shakyamuni. Shakyamuni preached under me, and as a result, I was reborn to understand the essence of Confucianism, Buddhism, and Taoism. Today, what path do you want to comprehend? Jiang Shan's image with the outside world was imperceptible, but he was immersed in the chopping, determined to break through the darkness. The divine axe swung and cut through the vast expanse. I don't know how long it has been, the darkness has shattered, a patch of light, and I don't know where to swing and chop again. Jiang Shan suddenly paused and looked at himself from a third person's perspective, realizing that he had changed his appearance at some point. Dragon head and human body, holding a divine axe in hand. Standing tall and proud of the past and present. Is this my true essence? Jiang Shan's heart was shocked, but he also showed a look of nostalgia. He had seen this thing before. When he returned to his hometown in a previous life, grandfather gave him a puppet just like this before he died. It is said to be a family heirloom. That's why their family got rich back then. He also said that this moment is Pangu. Back then, Jiang Shan didn't believe it, which Pangu Chang was like this. I even went online to check and found out that it was not right. The legend of Pangu has a long history and is the god of creation, but his image is not fixed. There is an image of a dragon head and a snake body, which is somewhat similar to the Zhu Jiuyin, as well as an image of a dragon head and a human body, before finally unifying as a human without the animal form. And because it belonged to the elderly, Jiang Shan also wore it. Until one day, it suddenly disappeared, and Jiang Shan searched for half a day before finally giving up if he couldn't find it. I didn't expect to encounter it at this time. Is it precisely because of this thing that I have traveled through? No, should I say that my current primordial spirit is Pangu? Jiang Shan suddenly realized this, and a towering primitive aura suddenly rose from his body, sweeping across the land. The ancient Bodhi tree behind Jiang Mountain trembled violently, unable to suppress the violent fluctuations, and in the end, a white light rushed straight into the sky. The ancient Bodhi tree transformed into the Bodhi Ancestor again, waving its hand and suppressing the white light, but it was already a bit late. Just in this moment, Bodhi Patriarch also saw clearly the Yuanshen of Jiang Shan. Dragon head and human body, holding a divine axe in hand. Pangu Yuanshen. How did you, a cow, condense the Pangu primordial spirit? At the same time, the Dalayin temple, Doumu Palace, and Lingshao Treasure Hall, with countless great powers gazing at each other, startled the heavens and earth, and shed tears of ghosts and gods, have created another existence that transcends the 3 realms and 5 elements. In the 33 heavens, in front of the 8 trigrams pill stove, an old Taoist sat on a cushion, seemingly asleep but not sleeping, displaying the power of the highest goodness like water. Suddenly, he opened his eyes, as if they contained the universe and the universe. In a hurry, others couldn't notice the place, but he was an exception. In just one moment, he realized the reason behind it. Fangcun Mountain, Sanqing Cave. Has Bodhi taught another first grade? It's rare. This old man is extraordinary in his abilities and a Bodhi tree. Even if he doesn't do anything, just letting the cultivator get close to him can greatly enhance the cultivator's understanding, like an epiphany, achieving twice the result with half the effort. Unfortunately, timid as a mouse, looking ahead and looking back, there is no guarantee that they will not do anything. Shaking his head slightly, he was about to continue alchemy, but suddenly glanced at the lower realm and noticed Jiang Shan's 5th grade cultivation. His face suddenly changed. 5th grade. When Confucius and the Tathagata were both of the 5th or 4th rank, they were shocked and moved by ghosts and gods. Can this boy of the 6th rank break the 5th rank and cause such a strange phenomenon? Thinking of this, a spiritual light descended from the 34 heavens and headed straight towards Fangcun Mountain. Thank you for calling me de Mo2 Jia Jia Jia. This long number makes me feel like I need to change my name to the reward of the 2 masters. I will make up for it after it is listed. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. The 72 Variations of the Chuan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. The 72 Variations of the Chuan. Is this the 5th grade spirit fairyland? Jiang Shan's consciousness returned to reality, his gaze fixed on the surroundings, and his mind twitched slightly. A transparent figure that looked no different from him flew out of his body, exploring the world and enjoying himself. Pangu Yuanshen is the root essence of Yuanshen, but generally speaking, the appearance displayed will be modified. I look just like myself. As for the manifestation of the origin, it is usually the appearance revealed after reincarnation when one cannot control their own spiritual essence. Extraordinary, ethereal, without any constraints, Jiang Shan felt even more joyful. If he faced himself before becoming an immortal, he would probably be able to easily slap and fly away. Have you had enough fun? Once you've had enough, come down. Until the voice of Bodhi Patriarch sounded from below, Jiang Shan was awakened and quickly returned to his original position. He stood up and saluted Bodhi Patriarch, saying, "Thank you, teacher, for protecting the Dharma." Although he is immersed in cultivation, he is not completely unaware of external affairs. I can't talk about it. How did your elemental and spiritual form condense? It's unbelievable that it should appear on you, said Bodhi Patriarch. The teacher also saw it, so what kind of elemental god is this? In theory, I should be a meme. Jiang Shan pretended to be confused, but couldn't say that he was a time traveler. Seeing Jiang Shan bewildered, even Bodhi Patriarch did not doubt him. With his great magical power concentrated in his eyes, he scanned Jiang Shan and saw endless divine powers flowing, but he couldn't see any clues. He had to shake his head and say, if everything is reasonable, it would be unreasonable for you to continuously support and fail because there is no curse in one lineage. Everything in the world is not reasonable. There are always unexpected things that are not within the scope of deduction. I think it's all fate. What kind of primordial spirit is this? Jiang Shan asked again, is it really the Pangu primordial spirit? Didn't I finally wait to hang up? I don't know, but it's unique and extraordinary. Before the moment of life and death, remember not to reveal the primordial spirit and let outsiders know. Bodhi Patriarch did not answer. After saying this, he reached out and pointed at Jiang Shan's eyebrows. A mysterious force descended on Jiang Shan's body, and then there were those with advanced cultivation. If Jiang Shan hadn't actively exposed the primordial spirit, he wouldn't have been able to peek. "Thank you, Master," Jiang Shan said happily. "Since you have entered the realm of the 5th grade, it is natural for you to do so. You have transcended the mundane, followed the path of nature in every move, and become more and more extraordinary in your perception of heaven and earth. However, you should have less energy at the 360 level gate, diligently practice the heavenly immortal technique, and achieve the 1st grade as soon as possible. Otherwise, it is inevitable that someone will take notice of you, a barbarian ox, and force you to be taken as a mount," said Bodhi Patriarch. "I understand. I will definitely practice diligently, inherit the teacher's legacy, and carry forward the teacher's teachings," Jiang Shan said. "That's it. These 3 realms are chaotic, and there are calamities in heaven and earth. With great ability in cause and effect calculation, one mistake can lead to an irreparable disaster." "Fame is a disaster," said Bodhi, shaking his head. "If everything is planned before action, killing will bring its ashes. When going out, use a vest." Jiang Shan probed. "Ha! You still have such insight." Bodhi Patriarch looked surprised, and soon a hint of regret appeared in his eyes. "This temperament is excellent. Over the years, among these disciples, this one suits his temperament the best. But unfortunately, the 5th grade is shocking and brings great luck. Or rise up by taking advantage of the wind and clouds, as if the sun is constant, as if the moon is rising, and become an immortal as the Ancestor. Even if heaven and earth reopen, it is difficult to lose a single penny, or it may be shrouded in wind and clouds, like a shooting star, dazzling and dazzling, surpassing the sun and moon, but only for a moment. Regardless of whether he is willing or not, he will inevitably be surrounded by the storms of the 3 realms. Just now, it also caused significant fluctuations. He can't stay any longer in this Sangsingdong, otherwise there will be endless trouble coming to him." Jiang Shan was unaware of his ancestor's thoughts, but his expression was subtle. His inner thoughts were indeed not illusions. From his preaching over the years, it can be seen that his own teacher's teachings tended toward stability, or rather, to be meticulous. The only question is, how did my own teacher teach Sun Wukong his lawless and unruly nature? You are a strange primordial spirit that needs to be concealed. Although my method is good, it also requires your own efforts. I have a method of deceiving the heavens, and I originally wanted to pass it on to you when you overcame the 3 calamities, but now I cannot. I need to pass it on to you first. I have 30.6 changes in the number of heavenly gang and 70.2 changes in the number of earthly Sha. What kind of change do you want to learn? Said Bodhi Patriarch. After leaving the door, life and death are up to you, but this method of deceiving heaven and avoiding disasters needs to be taught. I hope to live longer in the outside world. Master, there are 30.6 heavenly gang and 70.2 earthly Sha techniques, combined into 108. Can all the disciples take them? Jiang Shan smiled again with a simple and honest smile. You have extraordinary talent, but you don't know the reason why you can't chew too much. You are so greedy. Bodhi Patriarch ignored him and lifted his brush to hit Jiang Shan's forehead. Jiang Shan took a beating and exclaimed in pain, I understand my mistake, but I am young and ignorant, and the world is dangerous. I am afraid that I may make a mistake, so if I can learn more, I will learn more and leave more opportunities for future development. I have a good mind, but not all paths need to be learned. First, one must attain immortality before practicing multiple methods. Which one should one learn? Said Bodhi Patriarch. Which one is more powerful? Jiang Shan asked again. 36 transformations are easy to learn, but they are difficult to transform into exquisite things, nor can they transform into light, gorgeous, and flying things. On the other hand, within the 70.2 transformations, nothing cannot be changed, but their path is obscure and their talent is insufficient, making it difficult to achieve success. However, they can all overcome adversity and achieve longevity, said Bodhi Patriarch. I am willing to learn 70.2 transformations, Jiang Shan smiled. You come with your ears closed, and I will pass on your wonderful teachings, said Bodhi Patriarch. Jiang Shan immediately leaned over and heard the profound teachings of Bodhi Patriarch, feeling even more profound and mysterious. The so-called 72 transformations are the supreme supernatural powers of Taoism. Taoism has a distinction between yin and yang, with the number of yin being extremely 8 and the number of yang being extremely 9. The maximum number of yin and yang intersecting is 72. It is said that there are 70.2 changes, and within the yin and yang, all birds, animals, and everything can be changed. And between heaven and earth, there is no one who transcends the barriers of yin and yang. Upon hearing this, Jiang Shan had a different feeling in his heart. In the past, Pangu created heaven and earth, embodied all things, and was it also a form of great change? Is it better to confuse falsehood with truth? Feeling in the heart, there is a change in the breath around the body. Bodhi Patriarch saw it clearly and exclaimed in his heart that this ox was really good at creation. In my hands, this 70.2 transformation divine power is just a way to avoid calamity and change, but in his hands, it may not be possible. Just praising and praising, Bodhi Patriarch still had no intention of holding back, so he wanted to send Jiang Mountain away. However, before taking action, he sensed an extraordinary force descending on Fangcun Mountain, and his face suddenly changed. It came so quickly. With a flick of his sleeve, Jiang Shan was hidden in a small world, and then he looked at the newcomer with a calm demeanor. He was middle-aged, dressed in a purple robe, holding a precious fan in his hand. Everywhere, it was shrouded in mist, with a fragrant fragrance. As he waved his hand, there were also strands of immortal breath of heaven and earth, like the master of heaven and earth. The second of the three cleanliness, the heavenly sovereign of Lingbao in the Upper Qing dynasty. But when he saw the person coming, Bodhi Patriarch relaxed slightly and said, I didn't expect you to come down from the heavenly realm. There's no way, you have a 5th grade amazing person under your sect. If we don't come, wouldn't we be blind? And if Yuanshen intimidates the demons outside the domain and refuses to use moral alchemy, then only I will come. Lingbao Tianzuan shook his head slightly. Coming for him. Do you want to earn income from your family? That's possible, said Bodhi Patriarch. No one knows Sanqing better than him. It's difficult to give to others, but taking Sanqing away is not dangerous for Haishan. On the contrary, it's a great opportunity. End of this chapter.